Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the Sovereign Souls podcast. So as you just heard, I am Ivy Rose, and I am your host and your guide for this magnificent journey that this podcast will surely become. So hey there, thank you for joining me. I love that your ears, which are attached to your heart, and my voice, which is attached to my heart, are meeting right now through all this crazy technology that 2019 has gifted us through. So let's have a little bit of an introduction together. I hope that you're doing really, really well today in wherever you are and whenever you are. And if you're not doing super, super well on all accounts, honestly, this is a podcast made for you. So let's talk about what this podcast is and who it is for, and then we'll talk a little bit about me and my background and the gifts that I'm intending to share through me and for you with this podcast. So we are in a very interesting place and time in this world right now where we are experiencing a great awakening on mass scale on this planet and growing and evolution, especially drastic, personal and collective changing and shifting. It's a lot. Shit is chaotic right now in a lot of ways in our bodies and in our hearts and our realms and our lives and the world in so many places. And as ungrounding and as uncomfortable as the human journey can be at times, there's also tremendous reason to motivate us and grow us through all of these growing pains and shifts, because truly, we are here for more reasons than just to endure this reality and do our 9 to 5s and whatever the story and the journey has been for a lot of us. We are here to be of service, and we are here to create a new reality on this planet as all systems are coming to a place of integration and transmutation and really pulling apart, this more archaic, patriarchal, old system of energy that we've all been living in and going into what is going to be our new versions of selves and these realities and these societies and communities. So this podcast is really for supporting the awakening and healing human being. So we are here to talk about and discuss and create really beautiful, conscious, intelligent, and compassionate conversations around all things that we are working through, living within ourselves, within these societies at this time. So we are going to be talking a lot about health and the 3D body and the physical body, and really how we are to work ourselves back into places of physical and health and energetic balance and recalibration, because so many of us have been, very, very much affected by the toxicity of our worlds and these environments and the foods and big pharma, and the very ass-backward way that this Western society encourages and promotes us to live. So really talking a lot about all aspects of the human physical body and how we are to truly get healthy, and what does that look like and sound like and feel like, because we have a lot of inflammatory and degenerative diseases and symptoms that are affecting not just people in our 40s and above like it used to be, but really people in our 30s and our 20s, in our teens, and even as children. So I am here to help educate and promote much more holistic ways of understanding ourselves and our bodies and this path as, being a spiritual being, yet being anchored into a 3D body that, of course, is going to feel the effects of this world that we live in. So we're going to be talking a lot of health. We're a lot of being in the body, a lot of detoxification, a lot of gut health. That's all of that is my specialty as a colon hydrotherapist. And then we're also going to be branching deeply into all other areas of being an emotional, spiritual human being. So we will be talking about relationships with ourselves, our goals for ourselves, and really the journey of the soul through a human incarnation, going through, all of the phases of dark night of the soul. We will be talking about our relationships with one another. We will be talking careers. We'll be talking money. We'll be talking life and rebirth and death and everything else. I have already an incredible lineup of conversations with other just integral, incredible human spiritual beings who all have very potent messages to share and journeys that they've been on and through. So a lot of just really important conversations that it's my intention to bring to your ears and to your hearts, because so many of these things have been of tremendous support to me through this life, and the very least that I can do is create a space for these conversations to be had. And yes, there's, 500,000 plus podcasts at this point. And, in some ways I feel like, well, I'll just be one more fish in the ocean. But, there's so many of us that are growing through so much right now. And I really feel like the more hands we have on deck and the more hearts and voices we have aligned to be anchoring certain frequencies and energies and teaching and messages right now, we need all the help that we can get. So hello. You've got an idea of what this podcast is now about, which is really, to simply put, it's about the re-education of humanity. This is what I am very, very passionate about, because I am fortunate enough to be able to see the blind spots that a lot of us have, and I've done a lot of very, very nerdy stuff over the last decade in all of these realms, and it makes me really, really excited to cultivate this here. So, hey. That's what this podcast is about. I hope you stick around. My intention is to be having at least 2 episodes going up every week. So let's see how we all feel about that and how it all, let's just see how this goes. But I've got a lot of really important content that I'm here to share with you. And so, with how this podcast is going to go is that there's going to be a lot of solo casts, just here, me and you, because there's a lot of topics that I'm here to teach on. I get my own downloads and messages that need to come through to you. So a lot of these solo casts will be that, but a lot of them are going to be me teaching you about health, about how to remedy your gut, how to vibrantly, drastically change your health and your body and your weight and your inflammation and all of the uncomfortable pieces that you have about being in a human body. I'm here to help with that. So a lot of the health part of what I am to teach, the first part of this podcast launching is going to be heavily weighted in the health aspects. And that's simply because the sooner that I get you that information, the sooner I'm giving you tools to help yourself in a way that you haven't experienced yet and in a voice that you haven't yet heard out there in podcast land and social media and everything, because I come at things from a very gut conscious perspective because of all of my years of experience as a holistic practitioner and colon hydrotherapist. So there's going to be a lot of health heavy podcasts in the beginning, in these next surely 20 episodes or so. So I hope all of that feels really good to you. And if it does feel of tremendous value for you, I'm asking you that you do share this with people that you love, because at least 80% of all of us right now are going through problems with our gut, and problems with our gut equal problems in all other systems of the body and all other aspects of our human experience, really. So please share this with someone that you know needs to work on their health, or somebody that has been struggling with their health and just hasn't found the answers yet. Please share this with them. Also, please, if this is valuable to you, like this. Wait, liking, that's not what we do in podcast land. Subscribe so that we stay connected, and also share a review once you've listened to a couple of these podcasts and you really jiving with what I got here for you. So a little bit more about me as your guide and host for this time that we have together. Oh, where to start? Well, this podcast and me, our relationship already actually goes back about 4 years already. That's when the idea really started anchoring in. That's when the intentions and the ideas, and I started settling into this new reality that I am literally sitting into right now. However, in my case, there was a lot of personal growth necessary before I was really ready to hold space in my own voice, but also in my heart and in your ears in this way. Because truly at this time of our collective awakening, how do I say this? We have a lot of practitioners and people out there in the spotlight right now with really important messages. However, I personally see where we all have our blind spots, and it's really important that we do internal work around our blind spots so that we can really, really be in a place of integrity and coherence and transparency before we really share voice and message is my personal belief. So that is why there are many podcast episodes that have already been recorded that sit on my hard drive, and it's an evolutionary process, and nonetheless, here I am right now feeling really, really good to be doing this with you. So I am a holistic spiritual life coach. So my deal is helping you with all aspects of your life that are out of balance, that need alignment and healing. And we bring everything into balance, from the physical in the belly, in the body, to the relational, to the spiritual. Aside from when I am not coaching, I have been practicing as a internationally certified colon hydrotherapist for the last since about 2012, and that has been a career that, honestly, to say is life-changing in your understanding as a human. That doesn't even just do it justice for me. But my professional background, aside from coaching and colon hydrotherapy, I am trained as a holistic practitioner and iridologist. I have studied psychology and holistic nutrition and breath work and shamanism and plant medicine, neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy and yoga. And I really honestly have spent the last 14 years just being super, super nerdy in ways that have really fueled my soul. As much as I used to think that I just kept changing my areas of study and thinking of it as a scattered or not committing type of energy there. At this point, honestly, I am so grateful that I trained in all of the things that I did, because it gave me a very well-rounded perspective to understand an individual human being. And therefore, the better that you truly understand another human being, the more that you can be of service and help and really guide transformation, which that's what I'm really passionate about, obviously, is we are here to be in service to one another. We all have special magic and medicine that comes through us, and how that shows up for you, of course, is going to be completely different from me. But we are at this stage in the game. We are literally all here for each other. We are all here supporting each other, and so I get to show up with my voice and my heart in this manner, and ideally be of tremendous support to you, just like certain podcasters have been for the last 5 years for me, or these practitioners or these therapists, and like we all have our medicinal community support systems, and it's so beautiful to experience that and to witness and see that grow. So ideally, I am here to be a piece of that for you. So with my background, it means that how I am showing up to this podcast will always be with the utmost integrity that I can, with the most balance, with the most coherence and transparency. And I want to share my passions with you and my curiosities with you, but from a place that whatever I'm here to share, I always have a why behind everything, just because of the type of a Capricorn that I am. And so, yeah, I hope that we're going to approach, I know that we're going to approach really amazing subjects that are going to be actionable immediately for you, so that absolutely our lives can start becoming more aligned and more balanced, and really so that we can meet that next version of ourselves that our heart knows exists, but we just don't know how to get there and be that. The more that we are all supporting one another with our own gifts, and the more that we are doing our own inner work and healing and cleansing out the physical body, and really starting to get quiet and listen inside, that is where we meet tremendous transformation inside ourselves. And what happens as we all transform ourselves from the inside, this whole world transforms. So yeah, just everything is so beautiful. So my intentions with all of this information is to be of the most support that I can, and with the guests that I am having here on the podcast, also like I mentioned before, incredible beings that they have so much magic and medicine that has been so potent to me as well. So really, my life has healed and changed so much over the last half a decade, and really a lot of it honestly has been because of the things that I listen to while I walk my dogs, while I do a nighttime walking meditation outside sometimes, while I'm doing my dishes and cleaning my house, and when I used to be cleaning other people's houses, and simply with the things that I listened to grew me so much as a person. And a lot of that were certain podcasts, so that makes me I'm very passionate about spoken word from a loving artistic manner, and the ways that our words can really shift our worlds and really transform us and connect us in such incredible ways. Yes, and so a bit more of me as a human to share this with you, because I'm sharing all of this information in ideally a very professional, loving sense. However, it's going to come through just me as a person, because a part of my journey currently is honestly healing codependent behaviors and really allowing myself and giving myself permission and encouraging myself to really be me in my weirdness, in my quirkiness, in my own quite constant sense of humor. And so I'm allowing this podcast for myself to be ideally a beautifully growing into balanced way of amalgamating my masculine side, which is very intellectual and very analytical and really in search of knowledge for knowledge's sake, and in forever search of what is true. So taking that masculine side and really allowing it to blend with my normally more suppressed feminine side of creativity and receiving and really expressing my kindred playfulness inside. So you're gonna get kind of both sides of me here. That is the absolute plan. But a more background on the circumstances that have shaped me to be the person that you're listening to right now, and these are, I'm just going to share random lists of some of the stuff that my own journey has taken me through, because maybe it's something that you've been through a little bit of this too, and maybe that'll guide you to come back here and talk with me, because maybe we share some common ground and some shared growth and teachings. So I'm an only child from Western Canada, born in the 80s. In the cold, snowy prairies. And yes, I am a Capricorn, and I grew up in Western Canada. And I had previously married at a very young age. I had lived off-grid in beautiful British Columbia in the mountains. I used to own 20 acres of land, and we were building earthships and living a very sustainable, very, very crunchy hippie life. And it was tremendous learning. I had a housekeeping company for years and years, and that honestly taught me a lot about humans. And also I got to listen to so many good audiobooks and so much good stuff, which was always amazing. I personally have been through 2 miscarriages in my life. I'm really grateful for those experiences. I have healed my body from a state of chronic constipation. So we're talking pooping about once a week for the first 20 years of my life from being a premature baby. And so I was the child that always carried basically my own pharmacy with me. And I was ill a lot, which then created a lot of gut challenges and a lot of emotional challenges, in my younger adult years. And, I came to a crisis of not knowing how to live in this body, and that looked like the establishment assuming that I had lymphoma, and me really tapping into my own gut intuition and learning how to heal my body on my own from the inside up and from the bottom up. And that, all of that took me into quite, different realms of study. But I've been to my own edge and worked myself back, and it's been an incredible journey of learning. Otherwise, I've studied yoga and traveled, and I've been just really grateful for incredible experiences in my life. But then honestly, like a lot of hardship as well. But I mean, of course, we all have that. It's been many interesting years. About 5 years ago, I met an American. And in the last handfuls of years, I have immigrated from Canada down to the Bible Belt of America. So I am living in the South. And it feels in odd ways like in an odd home that I never thought to expect. But it's been a very also incredible life experience, of course, and joining America and honestly learning a different type of patriotism. And especially in this intense geopolitical season that we are currently in. It's been a very interesting, growing experience to be here in America. And to all of my Canadian family, I miss you and I love you, and I will start visiting so much more often. And to all of the amazing American friends and family and soul family, oh my goodness, the soul family here in America. Thank you all. Thank you all for being so loving and so welcoming to this Canadian. So, it's been quite a journey, and I'm really grateful to be here in your ears. What would I like to leave you with? Let's see here. Number one thing, let's drink some water, okay? So first thing I tell everybody, before we even discuss diet, before we talk anything, it's like if we are not literally drinking enough clean water on a daily basis, nothing can work right in a dehydrated body, okay? So take that as a takeaway right now. So whatever you're doing, wherever you are, you go get yourself some really good water and you drink some of it, okay? So it's not the old drink half your weight in body, or drink half of your weight in ounces a day. That's not a real thing, okay? That's not enough water if we actually want these bodies to like detoxify, which we all got to do at this point because we live in a pretty darn toxic world, unfortunately, at this time. But if we actually want the body to be able to detox effectively and then also heal and rebuild, we need to be so darn hydrated. And also the soul is basically electromagnetic energy, cosmic energy, and water is the conduit of electricity in this body. So a dehydrated body, if we want to be spiritually, soulfully connected, drink your water, okay? So approximately a gallon a day. So that's about 4 liters, 4 quarts, 16 cups. That is a really ideal place for most bodies, okay? Especially if we're sweating lots, especially if we're drinking coffee, energy drinks, alcohol, anything like that. Or if we're just eating like a lot of bread. That stuff gets like glue in the body. Okay, and then number 2 is I'm going to have an ongoing Q&A with this podcast. So whatever questions that you might have already, even knowing that I'm a colon hydrotherapist who is pretty darn spiritual and here to help you. If you have any specific questions, email me, okay? It is thesovereignsouls@gmail.com, and that will be in the show notes. But whatever questions you have, and so if we're talking health, relationships, life, whatever it is, but especially if it's health, email me your questions, and at the end of every episode, I will do a short little segment answering a listener's question, and I'm really excited about that. And before we part ways, I do want to remind you that any of the information, the insights, the guidance, or the ideas that I do share here on this podcast, that this does not take place of you visiting or consulting with whoever it is as a holistic or medical practitioner that you trust in your life, and that nothing that is said or shared here is ever meant to treat or cure or diagnose. There is no prescribing happening. So we are always all responsible for our own health. And I believe that we each have our individual right and responsibility to inform ourselves of all of our health choices. And to always, I encourage us all to continually get a greater understanding of ourselves and the human body, because truly, when it comes to our health, knowledge is power, absolutely power. And that being said, I so look forward to speaking with you in episode number 2. I love you all so much.